Welcome to Westlaw, specifically Westlaw Precision. Now this video, I go through the UI of using Westlaw with you. I'm not going to go into too much specifics. Not many tax professionals have access to Westlaw. It's very expensive. Some of you might have access to Westlaw at your firms. It really depends on your practice area. If you're an attorney, you're probably using Westlaw more. You don't need it. But a lot of law firms, they of course use Westlaw. If you're in certain practice areas like state and local, controversy, it's more likely that you may be able at your firm to use Westlaw because you need access to lots and lots of different jurisdictions, cases, and statutes and things like that. If you just practice mainly federal tax, Checkpoint really does almost everything you need. Bloomberg BNA might be helpful as well, but Checkpoint alone can be very, very beneficial. I'm still going to take a look at Westlaw with you. So this is the main page when you log into Westlaw Precision. Now, I just simply go to practice areas. Some of you might like the old classic look. I think that the Westlaw Precision, you can still get to do the old searching that people like to do, different ways we do research, right? Keyword search, table of contents, index, citation. I'll show you how to do these things, right? You've got tools. Tools have a lot of stuff. Westlaw is very powerful. Just so you know, it's very powerful. It's very expensive. Now look right here. We have the tax practice area. That's always where I go. And the idea is that Westlaw, if you just search Westlaw, you'll get everything. All sorts of legal issues, tens of thousands of results. If you go into tax, now look, when you do search, it's now focusing on tax sources. Okay? Now you got some tools over here on the right. And by the way, Westlaw is Thomson Reuters product. Checkpoint is also a Thomson Reuters product. Just keep that in mind. That's maybe why you don't have Westlaw access, but you have Checkpoint access. It's more tailored towards tax. It's not as robust, doesn't have as much stuff. Now, I will tell you that I love using the WG&L treatises when it comes to Westlaw because they have, depending on your subscription, but they have a lot more of the WG&L treatises than, let's say, Checkpoint does available. Okay? Now, if you are trying to do any type of keyword search, you can select your content down here, okay? And if you select secondary sources, it's going to look through all secondary sources, okay? If you select statutes and court rules, it's going to do that, okay? Now you can use the keyword search, this search bar up here to do a few different things. You can search different keywords like swimming pool medical expense, and you'll notice that different things pop up. And look, it even pulls up the federal tax coordinator. So that is linked in here because it is also a Thomson Reuters product. Okay. You can also, and if we go there, we pull up the federal tax coordinator. Okay. And if you search, it would then bring you to a search page where it will have all sorts of things, primary sources, secondary. You can, of course, eliminate to what you want in this searching. So we've got lots of different results. You can get the different, you can basically narrow down to what you're looking for, the filters, and the types of sources, things like that. You can do by relevance. Here's the Ferris case, which is a case I talk about when I talk about swimming pool medical expenses. So it picks that up. Content type, you can pull out the secondary sources. Now we have over 10,000. Now this does use Boolean searching. So if we put in swimming pool medical expense with parentheses, that's going to cut down a lot of the different things, and we don't find really anything. We do find this corpus, this CJS, corpus juris secundum, which is a secondary source. It's not specifically tailored to tax. It's tailored to federal issues and other issues. But you'll notice that it eliminated pretty much everything. So keep that in mind, right? And so it does use Boolean searching. So if we go back and we search swimming pool medical expense and go back to the search that we had with all those different hits, we can basically filter our searching through different ways. Now I also use this same approach. So here's our content type, secondary sources. And from there, you can also narrow it down to different types of secondary sources, even though there's 10,000 results. And if you get 10,000 results, you probably need to go and be doing different searches. So right here, look at this. It even has CCH stuff depending on your search. You have texts and treatises, ALR, 50 state regular. So a publication name, right? American jurisprudence, corpus juris secundum. It's very, very, very powerful. But right here we have the Federal Tax Coordinator, which is the one that we've been using when we do the searching, which is very, very powerful, and it goes by relevance. Now another thing, you can use this bar up here to do citation search. So if I want to pull up the Ferris case, right? Cases. There's a lot of Ferris cases. But if we're looking for, it's not this case, right? Wrong case. Let's say we do a case we actually know. I try to pull up, there's so many Ferris case. Welch v. Helvering. There it is, Supreme Court case. Right? If you go there, so you can use this also is a citation approach as well. And I will tell you, of all of the tax research platforms out there, legal research platforms, Westlaw, in my opinion, has the best when it comes to cases and giving you all sorts of tools and ways. Now, there's a lot of different ways you need to explore Westlaw. If you're ever using Westlaw, there's a lot of different ways to kind of look at the different approach. Like here's the history of this case and what happened and how it got to where it did. This Daniels versus Egan case that I pulled that just came up. So it's interesting. It can be so many different ways, but that's how I would go about pulling up. Look at this, 13,000 cases cite Welch versus Helver in the Supreme Court case. Such a big case. So it also has the West head notes, very helpful as well because it can lead you to other cases. That's how I do citation search. We can type in a revenue ruling. You type in the revenue ruling here, and it pulls up revenue ruling 2001-43. So it does a great job pulling up these sources and doing these certain things. Now, if we go back to our tax practice area, so that's how you do keyword searching and citation search. You can also do table content search by going into the actual, clicking on whatever you're trying to do. So you're trying to get to the statutes, the code, right? Go into a revenue code, and you can go and dig deep down, and you can get to wherever you're trying to get. So if you're trying to get to subchapter K, partnership, right? You can expand that out just like we saw with the others. You can find all the code sections. That's no problem, okay? Now, Westlaw does have indexes, but you have to go through more hoops to get them, just so you know. I don't really use Westlaw to do index searching, but you can use index searching to do that search as well, just so you know. And that's really everything I have for Westlaw. It's a very powerful source. I only, in Westlaw, really use it for tax, but if you're, for some reason, trying to look up trust and estates cases or other things, if you're in estate planning or whatever you're doing, you can also use it for that tool as well. And again, most of you in the tax profession, you probably don't have access to Westlaw, but if you do, it's a tremendous resource, but it also takes some time to get used to, and there's plenty of resources out there online about how to navigate it. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this.